Okay, well, for those of you who were on time, I do want to get this started. My name is Anne Marie Mavis. I am the publisher of Travel Market Report. I want to thank you very much for being with us today for our 60-second MasterAdvisor series on what you need to know about FITs and booking them in Europe. We're delighted that all of you can join us. And I just want to take a moment to wish you all a very happy Thanksgiving, since that is next week in the United States. I know some of you that are on are from Canada and you already celebrated your Thanksgiving. But for those of you celebrating next week, happy Thanksgiving. Know that we at Travel Market Report are very grateful for your readership and for all you do to help make Travel Market Report the voice of the travel advisor. Today's session, as I said, is about how to book FITs in Europe. And I'm really pleased and grateful to Avanti Destinations, who is sponsoring today's session. So thank you so much, Avanti Destinations, who has been one of our strong partners since the beginning of Travel Market Report. We enjoy working with them very much. And I would like to introduce Gina Bang. Gina is Director of Marketing for Avanti, and Gina has been with Avanti for, I believe, over 19 years. She has fulfilled many responsibilities in the organization, from customer service to reservations to inside sales to product management. So she is a perfect person to introduce Avanti to today. And again, Gina, thank you so much for being with us. And would you like to say a few words to our audience?
I would. Thank you so much. So great to see all of your faces. I love that travel is back. I'm actually just back from leading some travel advisors and some of our staff on a trip throughout Switzerland. And I can 100% say travel is back. Airports are busy, flights are full. Everyone's excited to get out there. So we love helping all of our travel advisors with your customized FITs to wherever your clients may be going. Just a little bit about Avanti for those of you who may not be familiar with us. We recently celebrated our 41st anniversary. Our office is located in beautiful Portland, Oregon. We're having also a very chilly but sunny autumn here. And we have about 130 staff that work in and around the Portland area. They are really a wonderful resource for you. They have a lot of expertise. We spend a lot of time training our staff. It's really important that they know all the ins and outs of our product and customized vacations to help you, because we are 100% B2B. So we only work with travel advisors and agencies. We never market or sell directly to consumers. So you can always trust that Avanti is your partner in travel. We're always really excited about meeting new advisors, but also helping our existing customers throughout our history. You know, we sell Europe, Latin America, Asia, North Africa, and the Middle East. And very soon we're going to be launching some new destinations. So hopefully that intrigues you. And we're really excited to be talking about customized FITs today. We really appreciate the opportunity to be here and to talk to all of you. So I hope you enjoyed the interview today with Neely.
Thank you so much, Gina. And let's give a big round of applause. There's not many companies in our industry that, only have B2B. So thank you so much for not only your support of the agency community, but for your dedication. So thank you, Gina. I would now like to introduce our guest for the day, Neely Cruz, who is with Cary Travel Express in Cary, Illinois. Neely has actually been in the travel industry for over 44 years, and she's owned her agency for over 34 years, and she is a wealth of information. I enjoyed speaking with Neely earlier this week to just review how today was going to operate, and I learned so many things. So Neely, without further ado, I'd like to introduce you and let you say a few words about yourself, and thank you again for being with us.
Hi, thank you, Anne Marie. I am Neely Cruz, and I am the owner of Cary Travel Express, and I'm so happy to be speaking about probably my favorite aspect of the travel industry, which is the FITs. I mean, I do it all, as we all do, but that's my favorite. I just returned 2 days ago from Egypt and Jordan, so I'm a little jet lagged. But I'm here. Yeah, travel's back, as Gina said. I mean, I've been to Europe 3 times in the last couple of months, and Everything's wonderful, crazy, and it's so great to see. The thing we waited for years is here.
Absolutely, and it is great to be back with bookings especially. So, we have decided that with so many new entrants to the travel industry, we're going to do a couple of polls in the chat room. So just a couple of administrative things. We do have a chat room. We are really open to you asking questions, and I'll try to look at those questions and ask Neely so she doesn't have to pay attention to the chat room while she's speaking. And we'll ask you a couple of questions such as how long you've been in the business. I believe one poll just came up. So, and this is obviously just to keep our audience informed and also to keep our speaker informed. But Neely, we keep talking about FITs. Can you just define what FIT actually means?
Well, I mean, it's foreign independent travel is I think the technical behind it. But, to me, an FIT is something that you can create. I always say, paint a picture. When a client comes in and, does this thing supposed to keep going in front of here? I don't know, but whatever. They come in, talk to you, okay, I want to go to Europe. Well, obviously you can do a bus tour, you can do an FIT. I always try to paint the picture, what's important to you. And most of the time I'm able to sell them the FIT because we can personalize it, create it to, different interests of what they want to do. They don't have to be on such a regimented schedule, except we'll include the must-dos, the private transfers, people are looking more and more for private, smaller, individual type FITs. So I don't know if that really explains it.
And I think individual is a really good word to use because you're right. Technically, FIT stood for foreign independent travel, and today's session is really about FITs to Europe specifically as a destination, but it's really more about foreign individual travel. So tell me a little bit about what percentage of your business. You've been in business with your agency 34 years, as it shows behind. What percentage approximately of your business is FIT business?
I mean, I believe it's about 35%
Okay.
is FIT.
And of that 35%, what percentage is to Europe?
At least half, probably 60%.
Okay, so about 60% is to Europe. Is it a complicated process, and why? I'm just going to use our sponsor, even though this isn't a commercial. Why Avante? Because in the back in the day, and I'm giving myself away, FIT was a lot of work for a travel advisor, putting together, every itinerary, every hotel, specifically the tour guides, the transfer companies, etc. So how do you handle it now?
Well, basically, we put that out the window because that's a thing of the past. And if somebody is still handling it in that manner, then they're doing it all wrong. I mean, they're wasting too much time. They're not getting the top value commissions and everything else. Someone such as Avante, one-stop shopping. I mean, I think it's easier. Well, it's 100% easier for the agent and 100% easier for the clients. The documents are all in order. Follow the leader, I always say. Just, start from your arrival transfer to here, to the tour, to the hotel, to the blah, blah, blah. Everything's all together in one nice package, as opposed to, 40 different pieces of papers or email links. Here's your hotel, here's your transfer, here's your this tour guide, here's that. I mean, everything's just tidy and nice. And the way Avante or other companies that do FITs like that, the one-stop shopping, I think, is the best way to say it, because it's all put together for you and you get the top value commission. I mean, you're still getting high commissions and not just 10% like you would get if you book a European hotel direct, and you're lucky if they ever pay you. So it's all, whatever, 14, 15 on up, depending on your volume.
So Neely, explain that though. Is it something that it's off the shelf, or are you actually, putting the program together, as you say, it's painting a picture. So you're like an artist. Are you painting a specific original piece of art for each customer?
I mean, in essence, I have my, like if someone wants Italy, I have my way I like to do it, the hotels that I like to use, the, boutique hotels. So I kind of have a mask, if you will, that I can pretty much send to them and say, and they usually take it and like it. So I kind of do it in my sleep. But someone like Avante too has sample itineraries. So it's not like a Globus Gateway or something where you've got your, Italy, treasures of Italy or whatever. it's not like that, but they do have really nice examples that you can use, tweak, but you can email those right to the client, and usually they like those too. But I do have some of my own put together like that I send to them, and then we tweak it from there. But a lot of times they just take it the way I have it because they know that I've used those hotels, use that amount of time in each place, not a one night, a 3-night, 2-night, 3-night, and we tweak it from there.
Okay. And, you touched upon Italy. Can you tell me the top 3 destinations that your clients are interested in Europe?
In Europe or just Italy? Europe?
Europe.
Top 3, Italy, France, and the UK.
Okay. And, again, going back to 35% of this is your business, would you say it's 35% of your profitability? Or do you think this business of FITs is more profitable?
Oh, I believe it's more profitable with the way that I handle it, adding service fees on, definitely more profitable. Doing it in the manner that I do it.
And how do you market your business?
I mean, I have a full-time marketing person who does, Facebook, all the different avenues. That's her department. She handles all that. We do a big travel show every year where we get at least 500 people. So, and we've been doing that consistently. This is actually our 25th year of doing that travel show. So a lot of people come to that, and tour operators are there, such as Avante and other people. We do evenings. So we'll do like a France night, wine and cheese France night. And so then we do market it more as putting together an FIT. We don't have like, oh, come on this departure that we have with Globus. We market it more as an FIT, but we'll sell it either way. So those are some of the ways that we market ourselves. But word of mouth, in my particular case, word of mouth is the number one. Because once you develop a way to do an FIT that you're authoritative, you've won them over, they know what you're talking about, and they have a fabulous time, they'll tell all their friends and they will come to you. I promise.
Yeah, the other day you were saying that really all of your business is by referral, and that's extraordinary, and that's a credit to you because obviously your clients trust you enough to let their other friends and family know. So that's really terrific. Are there specific niches of other industries that you market to?
I don't know, meaning what?
You were talking a little bit about the investment business, financial advisors.
Oh, yes. So I paired up years ago. They actually want a financial person, not even the person who I invest my money with. Somebody else I'd been referred to her. So she asked me if I could be their keynote speaker at their yearly, get together for her top money people. And so from that, I've got an unbelievable amount of business. And then I've reached out to some other ones since that and done the same thing for them. The clients, the nice thing is the money managers who've invited me, they want these people to spend some of their money on travel. Like you can't take this money with you. Your one son's a doctor, the other one's a lawyer. You don't need to leave them all this money. You got more than enough. Go on a trip. You got to call Neely and you have to spend this much money with her every year. So I make it my job to do that. And so and they trust me, and I've gotten so many referrals from that, so many. And it's nice because their money manager is on the same page. They want them to spend the money and do it on travel, and after a certain age, you have to spend so much of your money.
I mean, that is just such a great idea to be speaking, with a financial advisor and collaborating with them. I'm shocked that they want them to spend their money because, many want them to keep their money, but it's a great point. I was just at a conference 2 weeks ago and they talked about the baby boomer generation in the next 5 to 10 years, I believe, with inheritance and savings, will have over $15 trillion. So where is that money going? And certainly can the travel industry get 10%? Or maybe even the travel advisor community get 15% of that? Because you're right, it's time for them to spend the money. And do they spend, speaking about spending, and we talked about how profitable it is, what is the average sale price per couple for an FIT to Europe?
Well, that's a kind of difficult question because it depends on what year they go, what do they want, 3-star, 4-star, 5-star. But I would say if we say an average, maybe 10 to 12,000 is probably a good average.
Okay.
Some
And
less, some more.
okay. And what is your highest um couple spent? What have they spent?
The highest on one couple, I think was about $86,000 for 13 days in Italy. We want
But
more of those.
$86,000 for 13 days in Italy.
Yeah.
Okay, how many in the chat room would like a piece of that business? I know you all would. That's amazing. Getting back to the profitability and where to find these people, are there any other groups or organizations besides your referrals in the financial industry that you would recommend our advisors seek to collaborate with in their communities?
I mean, the chamber, I mean, I do a lot with the chamber, and that's a good source. Like actually we did a ladies' night last night with the chamber, and they have vendors that are there, and and a lot of I didn't work it because I was jet lagged and sleeping, but one of my girls worked it, and that's a good avenue not only for FITs but for other things, because you can talk to them one-on-one. It's a smaller group, but the chamber, our chamber of commerce is very active. I don't know about in your towns, but it's certainly something to be active with or seek out and see if they are. People always say, oh, I don't get anything out of it. Well, it's like anything, you only get out of it what you put into it. Churches, I'm pretty active with our church, and I'm putting together, I mean, not even just a group with a church going to Holy Land or whatever, just the individual people that I meet at the church and the word of mouth that runs through there, just is unbelievable too. I mean, the amount of people I get, because they feel safety, security. Oh, she goes to our church. She must be okay. I don't know, but she must know what she's talking about. Praise the Lord. But so that's my church groups. That's another one. I mean, where I've done a lot of stuff, my groups and individuals, was when my kids were growing up. So I don't know what your ages of your kids are out there, but we did a spring break group every year. It was kind of funny because my one son's name is Alex, and they're like, people come and they say, my son said that Alex Cruz says that we have to go on this trip for spring break. I'm like, well, if Alex Cruz says you have to go and take your whole family. So, hey, put your children out there. They can sell for you too. So,
That's a great point.
but
No wonder
just-
you've been so successful. Let's talk a little bit about multi-generational travel. Are you finding that they are requesting FIT to Europe?
I've done numerous of those. Actually, I did a nice one with Avante last year. It was a couple $100,000, and yeah, it was they wanted to do Italy. They did 1 week in a villa, and then I did Florence beforehand, and then they did the Amalfi Coast and Rome afterwards, and there was, I think, 14 of them. So I put that all together. So, and I've got a couple I'm working on for this year. So yeah, I mean, just a couple bigger ones like that, but even ones where they're bringing their sons, daughters. Another one that's huge, which I do a lot of FITs with, is all these kids that study abroad. That's huge. And so then they study abroad, and then the family goes and meets them at the end, and then everybody goes on their merry way, and I do an FIT around Europe for them. Those are huge, 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 huge. And I mean, again, I get a lot of those with word of mouth, because somebody's kids have done it this year. Then they say, oh yeah, call Neely, when your kid goes next year, because she'll handle doing the FIT. And that's usually always all the FITs. And again, it's multi-generational, but then we have the ones grandma and grandpa taking everybody and wanting the more structured FIT. They like the cooking classes together as the family, let's all make pasta and remember that. They want the private tour of the Vatican together. So they're really liking that more than going on a whole big bus tour with, 30 other people.
But even though the family might be 10 people or they're their own group, at least it's kept to their exclusivity, which, and I'm sure the grandparents are paying back to that $15 trillion.
Yes.
How about I'm bringing up the millennials, but I think there's a generation in between there, the Generation Xers. We never seem to talk about them, but what about the younger generations? Are they traveling and are they spending money with you?
Oh, absolutely. More and more all the time. I think the pandemic was a blessing on that, because, they heard the horror stories, of course, of people getting stuck in places and no one to call and nobody answers the phone at Expedia. We all know the drill, blah, blah, blah. So I've won over the confidence where a lot of them, or their parents, said, you know what, I'd done their families trips for years, and they're like, no, you're calling Neely. If you're going out of the country, you're calling Neely. I don't, you have to have a backup. It's too scary right now. So with that, I won them over, showing them, okay, what have you found? Well, I could do it cheaper than what they found right off the bat and had cooler stuff for them. So won them over. So yeah, I'm more and more, and then again, telling their friends and referring, honeymoons, doing a lot of, your FITs to Europe for honeymoons. But yeah, definitely that generation, and they're all too busy. They're all, yes, computer whizzes, but they also are very busy and have really good jobs now, a lot of them. So they're just too busy and saying, you know what, I'm so glad you can handle this because I don't have the time.
That's so interesting because I hear that from many advisors that, many think that the generations that are so good with technology are going to do it on their own. But in fact, they're smart enough to know that it's complicated and they don't want to spend the time on it. So I think that's a great point. Let me just take a couple of questions here from the chat room. We have Lockley saying, I have a party of 2 needing a 2-month trek across Europe, stopping in most of the major cities. Can you put together a package like that? Well, I don't think Neely's going to do that for you.
I'll be glad to, but no, that's
but I'm sure that Avanti can help you with that, or I'm sure that one of the suppliers, particularly our sponsor, would be happy to help you that. Let me see. Next question. How critical, and this is from Larry, how critical, Neely, is it for the agent to be an expert for each FIT they put together? For example, do you have had to have stayed at each hotel, been on the tour, etc.?
No, I mean, I've traveled extensively. I've been almost everywhere in the world, but especially in Europe, which is very fortunate. But like I always say, I can't stay in every hotel every night. I want to do that. I just can't do it. But somebody like Avante, I mean, this is my tagline. I don't know if I made it up. Gina can say if I'm right. But this is something I heard over the years, that they check out their hotels 5 times a year. And if there's any major complaints or whatever, they drop them. I mean, I feel it's a completely true thing. And I'd say it to my clients and their eyes light up like, well, that's a good sign. Because again, I can't see all of them, but I'm using them. That's why I'm using a company such as Avanti, because of their reputation, because they check out these hotels. Their portfolio is only, X amount of hotels. Yes, they can request other hotels that are not in their portfolio, but they know those all and they know them in and out. And again, then I take that and whittle that down to my favorites, which I have stayed at, slept at, and had a ton of people stay at. And then, yes, I can firsthand tell them, yes, these are my suggestions for the hotels. And then those are the ones I usually go with because they know I've seen them. But can you do them all? No, that'd be impossible.
Okay. And, can you think back? I know it's 34 years, but can you think back to some of your greatest challenges with clients and how you solved them? And as you're thinking about that, maybe some of also where you had clients that had great expectations that you weren't able to fulfill. I know you're terrific and I know you've done a phenomenal job, but I'm sure you've made mistakes. Are there any mistakes that you can share?
I mean, oh yeah, there's certainly always mistakes. We're at the mercy of so many different things. And, when we're so busy, and if you saw what my desk looked like right now, you'd know, well, how does she even keep it all straight? But yeah, I mean, there's been mistakes, but there again, you have to just take a deep breath. You can't freak out, and you have to fix it. You just deal with the situation. That's what I always tell my girls. I go, you know what? When they come to my desk freaking out, oh my God, I said, take a deep breath. We will fix it. And we will make it right. And that's, we'll use our different tools. We're not beneath begging, pleading, whatever we have to do. Oh my God, I screwed this up. But, I mean, usually they can be fixed. I mean, I double check everything. I triple check, I highlight everything, especially, just to make sure it's all there. But could something fall through the cracks? Of course it can. But again, I use somebody like, I'm not again to tout Avante, but just the companies like that who also double check everything. So, when you have, I put together the itinerary, even if I do it all online, they've got a department that goes through and checks it and say, you know what, Neil, your days are off here. They need to be leaving Paris on this day. And so another reason why you use somebody like that, you're making more money, but they've got a team that also double checks, which you need, especially when you're putting something together like that.
Absolutely. Have you ever fired a client? Said, I don't want to work with you anymore?
I mean, I have a few. I have, yes. Actually, one recently. She was a crazy woman. We all have those, but in general, I'm fortunate because I get the good ones and they're my repeat ones. So it's usually ones that are my girls get, and then and I know what's going on, and I'm like, oh my God. Some of you just can never you can never please, but you just have to do your best and let them know that you know more than them. And yeah, have we fired them? Yeah, but it's been few and far between. We usually can, educate them to come down off of their high horse that they know everything and are just going to be, meh, 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 and let us do our job, and we'll make the trip perfect for you.
Absolutely. And what can you think of, a great itinerary or a great trip that the people were just overjoyed with?
Well, I mean, Italy's always the number one. I mean, no one ever complains about a trip to Italy, even your just typical Venice, Florence, Rome, and then end it with a wow with the Amalfi Coast and, a day over to Capri. I mean, that's a winner no matter what. To me, that's a winner, hands down. I mean, if somebody wants a little more unique, have them stay in Tuscany too. But if it's just the major ones, I mean, I don't know about any of you out there, but I've never had a complaint on a single Italy trip ever.
Wow.
Oh, I mean, everyone loves it. How can you not love being drunk on red wine and eating pasta? I mean, seriously.
It's so true. We have a lot going on in the chat room, and I'm happy, Gina, you're getting a lot of recommendations. But do we have any questions from the participants that I can ask Neely while we have her here? Neely, do you have any questions for the audience?
I mean, how is it all going for all of you? I mean, is your FIT business increasing? I mean, how does it look for all of you? I mean, it's my forte, but obviously you're on here because you want to learn about it, but how are you doing it? Or how do you see an increase in it? Or do you?
And most of the most everyone's agreeing with you that Italy is by far their biggest seller. They are saying that Mary Beth Sullivan is saying that FIT is increasing and it's what she prefers. And yes, Italy and Greece, and you did mention the other day Greece as well. It's certainly becoming a very, very popular. Kim is saying that Germany is starting to take over Germany in her area. Ireland is coming on strong. So Italy, France, Belgium, Denmark, the staples, and yet some new ones. I mean, look at how much, how many challenges Greece had, and now it's come back. So it's good to see that. Amy is saying
Croatia is huge too. I mean, that's getting bigger and bigger all the time.
Croatia is really huge. I actually fell in love in Croatia once, but that's a story for another time.
Poland, we're seeing a lot of Poland, where all the years Poland was just to people who are visiting relatives. Now we're doing a lot more Poland too.
And I'm hearing, Italy is popular. Curious to know what people, and I was waiting for this question because it comes up on just about every MasterAdvisor series, curious to know what people are charging in terms of service fees. And you and I touched upon that, but you want to speak to that, Neely? Your philosophy on service fees?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of difficult for me. I don't have a set policy in my office, which I know everyone's going to throw darts at me here. But, I mean, mine's a lot of repeat clients. We don't necessarily charge a fee, but like say if you're doing Avanti or whatever, I can add a service fee so they don't even know. I mean, first of all, when you're designing an FIT, they can't take that FIT and go compare it to Expedia and get the same price. So, I look at the price and I'm like, let's add another 500 on this one. Or, I mean, I've had somewhere they added 2,000 and they've still been happier than anything about it. So that's kind of how I do it with the FITs is I hide it in there so they don't think I'm charging. But if it's a new client, yeah, I'll charge them, $100 or $150 up front that'll go towards their fee. But I know people charge a lot more, but I hide it. That's how I do it.
So, well, probably hiding is probably not the best word that we want to say on MasterAdvisor on our recording, but you build it in.
Build it in. That's it. Sorry.
Yeah. I know that is what you meant, that you build it into the price, so that you get not only your commission, but, a fee for all the work that you do. Here's one. Oh no, that's a response from. Well, I can tell you for service fees, for those of you that are on this MasterAdvisor, we did our first MasterAdvisor series on service fees about 15 months ago during the pandemic. And as I told Neely the other day, we had an agent call us, an advisor, and say that she took the course, did a lot of research with her team. They developed this service fee program, and so far this year, she has gained $100,000 just in service fees alone for her agencies. So I think that's incredible. And I would just encourage everyone that, yes, you probably want to have some service fees. There was a question that I saw, Neely, that, somebody wanted to know, do you ever combine small ship cruising with land portions of an FIT?
Oh, yeah, all the time. All the time. I mean, like I would say, we make that the nucleus, and then we build upon the beginning and the end, before and pre and post. So yeah, small ship cruising, large ships, river cruises, then I do my own thing before and after. Oh yeah, all the time.
So yeah, the river cruises would be one. There was also mention of, companies like Windstar, other small ship cruises. So
Azamara, yeah, everybody.
it's basically doing a pre and post, before and after.
Correct.
What percentage of the business would you say are the small ship cruise FITs with pre and post?
Of my total, I mean, maybe 5%, because a lot of times they want the one that's offered through the cruise line too, that the pre and post that the cruise line has. So that's, if they don't want that, I can present that to them. Then I say, well, I can do anything. I can put whatever you want before and after. So I go that route, but that's probably the percentage.
Okay, so just to, summarize some of the things that you've said. Again, you've been in business for 34 years. Well, really, you've been in travel 44 years, but you owned your agency for 34 years. And FIT business is about 35% of your business. And Europe is about half, 50% of that 35%. You mentioned that it's probably one of the more profitable areas of your business. And to get started, I just wanted to get back to that a little bit. How would you recommend a new advisor or an advisor who's been in the business and books primarily tours and cruises? How would you recommend they get started with FIT business?
Well, I mean, first of all, I would do something like the training on Avante or all the companies, Europe Express, whoever it might be. Their websites are phenomenal and their booking engines. So they've got so many tools on them that, I mean, and they have training classes, or you must have a Avante, Europe Express, whoever sales rep who could come in and show you as well, or everybody's got the webinars. That's how I would start, because they really kind of show you in black and white, give you the tools to then present. The other thing is traveling, going to these places, I mean, that's the number one. I mean, I go to Rome and I try different, unique excursions so that then I can present that to my clients. So I know we can't all be on a plane all the time, but I make a lot of my focus is traveling to Europe, so I can be, firsthand knowledgeable with that. But I think just trying with the, do it with the websites, because that's who you want to book. Like I said, we don't want to piece it together. We don't want to call the hotel. We don't want to do the transfer. That you want it in this one-stop shopping, and you want to utilize their website. I mean, wouldn't you agree with that, Gina?
Gina's nodding her head yes. I think she's off the mic. I think those are really all of the questions. Would you like to add anything, Neely, that I have not asked you? Any recommendations or tips for our audience of not just FITs, but just, to experience the success that you've been? What are some of the characteristics you feel you have, and what are some of the things you believe you've done that really helped you gain this success?
Well, I mean, first of all, it's my passion. I've never had to go to work for the money or anything. I mean, it's always just been my love, my passion. I mean, everyone goes, when are you going to retire? I'm like, never. This is why would I do that? I mean, so you have to have the love of this business, this crazy, insane business that somehow we are all still in. Hey, if we made it through the pandemic, we're never going anywhere. It's our passion. So that, to me, I think, that exceeds, alludes to the client when they're there, is your passion for it. I mean, you have to be excited. You have, again, like back to what I said, paint the picture. No matter what trip it is, you've got to put them in that spot and visualize it. And you can do that. I mean, it's something, you have to train a little bit yourself to do it, but I think you just have to, be excited for the people, unique itineraries. You want to do the cooking class. You want to, go and do, the Churchill War Rooms. Oh, I never heard of that. Oh my gosh, it was wonderful. You know, I always say my husband I thought he was going to sleep there and live there. You know, I mean, you have to kind of just bring everything kind of home and excite them about it. I think that's the number one thing. And do unique, different itineraries that they can't find on Travelocity or something different to set you apart.
Absolutely. How do you know, though, if I approached you and said, you know what, my friend Marianne traveled with you, Neely, and she said you put a great itinerary together, you know, I'd love to go to Europe too. What can you recommend?
Well, first I say, is there somewhere you're thinking of? You know,
Mhm.
do you, you know, if they say no, I'm like, you know, what are some of your interests? You know, do you want something warm with the beach? Do you want, you know, are you looking for, you know, to see churches, or do you like cooking classes? Do you love wine? Let's go to Tuscany. So, you know, kind of narrow down the gap of what exactly is important to them. Do they want to just sit in the sun in Greece on the islands, or do they want to see the Vatican? Oh, my dream has always been to see the Vatican. Okay, then let's centralize our trip around Italy. Or I've got to go to the Eiffel Tower. All right, we'll do that. And you're going to have dinner in the Jules Verne. I'll set that up for you. So, you know, what's your budget? What time of year do you want to go? Because that's, you know, sometimes people come in and say, well, I want to go to Greece in February. Well, you can't go to Greece in February because most of the vendors are left Greece. They're on their vacation. It's cooler. So we're not going to, oh, I didn't know that. I mean, it's amazing how much people don't know. So, you know, you got to kind of narrow down, qualify some of those things as well. Budget, you know, time of year you want to go, kind of some must do's if there will. And then it usually comes from there. You can create it very easily.
So that's a great point about the time of year and the information. You say people don't know, but as you know, Americans are not great in geography,
No.
number one. So I'm sure painting the picture is also showing them where it is in the world in relation, excuse me, in relation to other destinations. But you also talked about with the time of year, are you seeing a difference in booking patterns, meaning the booking window, first of all? It used to be probably a year out for someone to book Europe. Do you think that what is the booking window now?
Well, I mean, this last year or two has obviously been shorter. I mean, we even had people come in and say, I want to leave for Europe in 3 weeks. Well, we could always make it happen because everything was still available. Now, I mean, we have a lot on the books for next year already. So we're getting back to more that 9 to 12 month window. I mean, I think probably the average that we're at right now is about a 6 month, 4 to 6 month window, but we're also seeing it push out farther to that 9 month-ish, which is what we were at before the pandemic. And people are getting back to understanding they've got to do that to get what they want again.
I see. And we have a question here, you know, asking how many modifications do you allow before the final payment? So throughout the discussion, you know, they make one change, then a third change, you know, at what point do you require the money?
I mean, I fortunately, they never really make more than 3 changes. I mean, because again, if you're offering them the right thing to begin with, you know, or a good, nice itinerary, and can explain to them, this is how this flows well. You know, you need 3 nights here. You know, as opposed to letting them guide the conversation, where they're like, well, no, I only want 1 night here. I went, no, you're not going to do 1 night here. We're going to do it this way. So you've educated them from the beginning on how they should do it and why this works. Then that cuts down a lot of your times of your changes and stuff. So you kind of have to drive the boat here when you're selling it to them, so that you kind of nick that in the bud from the beginning. I mean, yes, there could still be a change here or there, but in general, you know, if you do it that way and educate them, they usually will abide by that and stay with that. So you don't have 49 changes.
I think that's a great point. And I think the point that you haven't made, but you've really shown in just your presentation, Neely, is that confidence. You're very confident in knowing what you know, and you realize that most don't have the experience that you have. So I think what you're saying to our audience is you need to be confident. You're the expert, you're the professional, just like you listen to a doctor or a dentist when you go to their office. The more confident you are, and you've got suppliers such as Avanti, you know, that can back you up, the more confident you are, the more they're going to just go with what you say. You know, back to the booking window. So the booking window is going back to 9 months to a year. Europe has opened up again. What about the average length of stay? Has that changed?
I mean, I'd say it's 10 days is about the average. You know, I mean, I don't think it's really worth it to go for 7 days unless you're still just going to Paris or just doing London or something like that. So really the average I think is 10, but I'm seeing a lot of 2-weekers too. People know, okay, you've paid for the airfare, let's get as much out of it as we can and spend as much time. But I'd say if you have to have an average, it's about the 10.
10 days. Okay. And you wouldn't recommend 7 days, which is also a great point that to say to your clients, it's not worth it for 7 days, go for 10. So with that, Neely, we're winding up our time here. So I would just like to leave, the last few moments for yourself to say anything you'd like to say to our advisors.
Well, good luck. Keep selling, sell. Travel agents are so important. More and more people are realizing that and understanding that, oh, I thought there was no more travel agents anymore. It's like, well, it's a whole different world now. People get it. They understand us, and everyone just keeping our industry going. And it's an important, and I know everybody on this call, it's your passion, because you wouldn't be on this call if it wasn't. You would be out doing something else because you wouldn't have made it through the last 2 years. So good luck. Good luck. Use Avante. Again, we're not the selling thing, but they're phenomenal. Their agents are fantastic. If you don't know anything, just call them and say, I got a lady who wants to go to Italy. They'll put it together for you and send it to you. You don't have to do anything. So
Which is that is amazing. And Gina, we're going to have to start charging more for this session of sponsorship because I think I see from the chat room that you're going to get a lot of new business and certainly phone calls, which is terrific. We're all here to work together, and the more profitable our suppliers are, the more profitable our agencies will be. So I just want to thank you, Neely. I do want to make 1 or 2 announcements. Our next session is on December 8th. It will be our last session of the year, and it will be on service fees, how to implement service fees, and Dan McCarthy, our editor at large, will be moderating that. And again, I just want to wish all of you a wonderful holiday season, and particularly a blessed Thanksgiving next week. And Neely, thank you so much for your practicality, for your time, and for all the resources you shared. And Avanti Destinations, Gina, thank you so much. Goodbye, everyone.
thank
Have a
you.
great weekend.
Bye. Have a
Bye-bye.
great day. Happy Thanksgiving.